Hello everyone, this is Paycheck, coach of the Portland Palafins, and this is a draft analysis for a new league I'm in. This is the Pocket Monsters Premier League, the PMPL. We are a replacement coach. Someone dropped out basically right after Grace ended, so none of the battles have actually happened. We're going to be starting off on week 1, which is good for us. We can make some quick changes and basically play out the entire season. But what that also means is if we want to make our own team, we essentially have to take whatever we got and just pick up a bunch of scraps off the tier lists. So that's what we did. And for this format, this draft league, the format is low tier draft, like really low tier draft. So that means, mons like, Chimpao or, Palafin are banned straight up. And a lot of mid-tier mons are banned as well. A lot of stuff is banned. And we're just gonna jump into what our first team member is. It'll probably give an idea of how the tiers look. But for our first member, it is Hitmontop. This mon is one of the best mons in the format. It's like rated the highest at 20 points, along with a few others, such as like Titan. I think Hisuian Decidueye was on there as well. It's pretty crazy. It's like a lot of very low rated mons, not ones you commonly see, which is pretty interesting. Hitmontop is definitely not bad. It's got rapid spin, which is definitely useful for hazard removal. We have close combat, just in general, is a strong fighting move. We have triple axle for good coverage, and you can set up with things like bulk up, just a very bulky mon in general. Also have intimidate for hindering certain Pokemon. So definitely be very useful. This is one of the 3 Pokemon that was on the original team before I picked it up and I decided to keep. I'll mention the other mons when they show up, whether I keep them or kept them or not. So one of 3 original team members. But for our next mon that I actually picked up, we got Rabombi. Rabombi is definitely a pretty good mon. Normally it has access to things like Quiver Dance or Sticky Webs, but as you can see on the bottom left hand corner, we do not have access to those moves. Those moves are banned on any mon that has them, so that's a pretty big nerf to Rabombi. However, Rabombi is still like extremely fast and hits pretty hard as base 95 special attack, which is pretty high for this format. Not a lot of mons can actually reach that high. But we still have Moonblast, who would just basically hit hard. We still have Screens, so good support. And it's also a Fairy type, which is not the easiest to come across in this format. So, very nice pick overall, and I'm pretty happy with this choice. And for our next team member, we have Iron Thorns. Normally, this if you take a look at this thing's stats, 570 BST, 134 base attack, is a crazy mon to allow in a league like this. We just saw earlier, like Hitmontop is the #1 rated tier, and Rabombi is also like more expensive than Iron Thorns. So, what is a mon like this doing here? Well, first of all, this thing is Rock Electric. That is a horrible typing. Not very good. And another thing is, as you can see, the bottom left hand corner, Dragon Dance is banned. So there's not the only way I can really boost my speed is some timid booster energy strat, or just going a Choice Scarf, which isn't the greatest, being half forced into that role. But what really sold this mon for me, the reason why I kept it instead of dropping it, because this thing was on the original team, I did not drop this, is that I look at the overall tiers, and there weren't that many ground types to begin with. I was kind of struggling to see what ground types there were, and for the ground types that are there, Iron Thorns can deal with them decently well. I think the most expensive ground type available was Torterra, and I think Iron Thorns has like Ice Punch to help deal with that. So definitely things like that. A mon that any ground type that resists, or is just at least neutral to ice, I think Iron Thorns would struggle a little more against. Just because I can't really hit things with a non-stab ice attack that hard to begin with. But I think this mon will still be able to dominate, because just it has such a high attack stat. 134 is nuts, when the average is like 80 to 90 base attack and special attack, so this thing definitely stands out above other Pokemon. Yeah, overall, I think this mon definitely has a chance in this format to do very well, so pretty happy. On the topic of ground types that are neutral to ice, our other next pick here is Marshtomp. This is the third and final original team member we had on the original team before we dropped off a bunch of other things. Marshtomp, basically just a tiny Swampert with a few missing moves. I think a key notable one is I don't have access to Flip Turn, which I am kind of sad about. Flip Turn is a super fun move to use, and Marshtomp not getting it is not the greatest, but we still have things like, you know, Earthquake, I think we have Liquidation, we have Stealth Rocks, Yawn, Ice Punch, all things to deal with various things, and we do have access to the Eviolite, so that's cool. Very bulky water ground type, so I think this thing will be a very important defensive backbone for my team. Another new mon here is Houndoom. This thing is like a 13-point mon. It's pretty expensive, but it also has some pretty nice stats. The only really bad stat it has is like 50 defense, so I am not tanking any physical moves with this thing. It's like Zen Headbutt. But this thing has like 110 special attack. It's got really nice special attack. It also has 90 attack, so it serves as a pretty nice mixed attacker. It has access to like Sucker Punch and Flame Charge. Some good moves. It's also a dark type, which can, you know, help against like any psychic types there are that maybe Hitmontop might struggle with. It also has a nice speed tier, 95 base speed, kind of rounds out my speed tiers a little bit better. But yeah, this thing's mostly just here to be a fire and dark type and hit hard, essentially. That's his main role. This pick, we are rounding out our Fire Water Grass core. Jumpluff is normally not the greatest ever. And even in this format, it might not be too good. 55 in both attack and special attack is not good at all. But as 110 speed, it's very nice. It's decently bulky with like 70s in HP and defenses. It's got a bunch of like supporting moves like Leech Seed, U-Turn. I can also run like some acrobatics set if I need to. If you've seen like the random battles Jumpluff set, you probably know what I'm talking about. But this thing also defensively covers Iron Thorn's weaknesses perfectly. Resists like fighting, water, grass, immune to ground. Basically everything that Iron Thorns is weak to, Jumpluff can deal with pretty well. So that's pretty nice. Also threatens them like offensively as well. So grass and flying, pretty nice type. We're all pretty happy. Very fast mon. But I am a little worried about its lack of power, so we'll have to see how it does in the actual season going forward. Our next pick here is one more out of necessity. It is Seviper. It's a grounded poison type, which is pretty important to have in draft. You don't want to be bullied by everyone who has toxic spikes available to them. It's actually kind of interesting in this draft. It's 65 is not like the worst speed tier ever. There's a lot of things that are slower and quite a bit that's faster. It also has base 100s in both attack and special attack, which is pretty high. It's a pretty good mixed attacker. And with access to like Trailblaze, Glare, Swords Dance. This thing can either be like a good support mon or a good just attacker overall. It's pretty cool. I'm pretty excited. Maybe Seviper will finally be good in a tier. It's a very cool looking mon, but one that just doesn't perform very well. So hopefully it can do well in this league. Or at least I'm hoping. Our next team member is Matang. Matang is the first out of 2 Terra captains we have. We have a Terra budget of 11, and the max point tier that can Terra is 8 points, and Matang's at that 8-point tier. Matang's pretty cool. It's basically just a budget Metagross essentially, and it's also one of the only like steel types left essentially. I don't think I found any other steel types, and I think my team would definitely like a steel type, so I just pretty much grabbed Metang. I also think it'd be a pretty good Terra Captain. It gets access to like Bullet Punch and Zen Headbutt, all that stuff. Terra Steel Bullet Punch could be kind of cool if I want to go for that. Or maybe just go for like Terra Water and just be bulky with like Eviolite. But overall, pretty strong, pretty cool. I think Metang would be pretty decent. I looked at over like all of the other like Terra Captains, the options, and they did not look too good. I'm gonna be honest. I did not know how to work with any of the stuff available. I think some of the other options were like War Turtle or Glimmet or basically a bunch of like LC mons essentially. And I think the tank stands out from the bunch of whatever was left. So pretty happy with the Terra Captain we got here. We do have one more, which I will be going over in a second. Not quite yet. So our next pick is Vivo. The video's a little scuffed. This video is due soon. I gotta get it out